soy wax here. Use that later. Got a lot of stuff to do. Looks a little weird though. Looks different. Doesn't it look weird? It looks different today. I don't know. Figure it out. Figure it out. Hey everybody. Welcome to Dad's Workshop. I'm Calvin. Don't want to move this back too much, but just maybe a smidge. Got a ton of stuff to do today. Want to show what we're doing. I am not able to see the chat here for some reason. Guess I'm not subscribed to my own chat channel or something. Strange. That's not good though. I do see chat on here, it looks like. I don't know. I just got to keep going. So these are deer hides that you're about to see now that I have been tanning in an oak bark liquor for a while, a couple weeks now. About 2.5, 3 weeks. Let me get them into the frame here. I brought in some kind of funky stuff that I had in some other tanning baths into this, and it changed the smell a bit. So I think it's going to add some time for me to kind of tan that smell out of it. If you can imagine, if I'm giving a piece of leather to somebody, I don't want it to have a bad smell imparted in it, right? I am also tempted to scrape this grain off of here. Maybe not this one, maybe this one too. A lot of damage to the grain on these. By that I mean this right here. You see the little scratches and scrapes on there? That grain damage makes this less than like perfect quality leather, but I can scrape it off and get a dark, pretty buckskin, but I have to sacrifice all that grain for that. Thing is, I'm gonna have to work around a lot of little scratches and stuff. It's a lot of tanning that went into getting this grain this nice dark reddish brown. So it's a lot of work that I'm kind of destroying. I think it may be worth it though. I don't know if I'm going to do that today though. I think I might go a little further before I make that decision. Good afternoon, Bill. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well today. My name's Calvin. If you don't know me, this is Dad's Workshop. Right now, I'm working on tanning skills, and this is a deer hide that's being tanned with red oak bark liquor. Like I was just saying, I was considering scraping the grain off, which I'll show you in a minute what product that kind of creates. But Bill, see, I don't know when Bill came in, but Bill, welcome. Thanks for being here, everybody. Can't see the chat really on there. Bill Clancy, yes, sir, welcome. All right, so let me get, what I'm really doing here is not really much of a scrape because these don't have much, maybe right here. I don't know if I brought my other scraping tool out. I don't particularly want to use my draw knife here on this. I may have left my other scraping tool inside. I always leave something in there. Little nervous about this draw knife because it has some rust on it, and I was able to scrape other hides when it was clean and not get black spots. But if I scrape it like this without sharpening this a bit and stropping it, I think I'm going to end up with black spots. So I may go get my scraper, or when Heather gets on a break, maybe she can bring my scraper out. Yesterday I was working on this, Wes, welcome. Yesterday I was working on this sheath here. You can see that saddle stitch. You know, it doesn't look perfect. This is kind of my first piece like this, but we put a button on it. Pop, see that sheath? And that's made out of leather that I tanned. So a product sewed, you know, completely made there. This made by Ron, but the sheath I'm working on, I'm going to put a leather strap around the back from here, around the back of that today after I finish doing the handle, which is after I scrape these hides real quick. So we got a million things to do here on Dad's Workshop. all of it just traditional kind of skills. I want to make sure I do this right here. This way I can kind of just strop this. This is a piece of deer hide I have. I'm trying to get the rust off this draw knife as much as I can here. Well, thanks, baby. So working on that sheath, someone said, don't you need a strap around the back of it? I don't think I made that connection. Yesterday, the idea was when I sewed this top stitch around was to make it tight enough for this button to pull down and kind of pull it tight. I don't think it's going to work. It's good as protector because if it's sitting somewhere, you won't cut yourself on it. I also put another saddle stitch on the edge to make the edge more durable, right? Where the blade is, it has to get through that wax thread and through the leather in order to break the edge. So that was just a measure I took to try to make it stronger. I did that after the live yesterday. I forget what this one is. The sled is a flexible flyer. Yeah. And I did a little restoration video on it. You can check through my other, I think that's a public video right there. It wasn't a big deal. I just did the chrome. Like I just kind of brushed it. I don't know if I use a steel brush. I didn't want to take off all the paint. And then I used a paint pen to go over the red bits, like the logos and the writing. I did it real carefully, over time. It's an old sled. I got it for my birthday from my grandmother in Minnesota when I was a kid, when I was little. It was sent in the mail, if you can imagine, like it was in brown paper. I remember when it came. And it was used one crucial time when we had this ice storm in Virginia where it rained. It's hard to explain to people because I don't know if everybody's experienced this, but what we had was basically a torrential rain, several inches of rain, a huge downpour, followed by a deep freeze, if that makes sense. So what we had was I got to change my internet here. It rained really hard. It rained really hard, and then it froze really hard, and everything became an ice skating rink. It was like flat, and no one knew it was gonna happen. We had this much ice everywhere on everything. So my friend and I and my brother went to the grocery store, which was up a hill called Beacon Hill, and we it was very hard. We had to crawl up hills, and at one point the sled got away from us with eggs and all this other stuff on it, went flying down this hill with cars and everything, and then crashed at the bottom of the hill. We went to check it. The eggs were all fine. Crazy story. I know y'all love to hear those, right? My feed is really bad, so if I missed you in the chat, I'm sorry about that. My name's Calvin. This is Dad's workshop. I'm just scraping these. I got to scrape these hides and get them back in the tanning. It's just part of my daily chores when it comes to keeping up with my leather production and not letting it slide. You don't want to do that. Not when you put that much love into something that you make. You don't want to lose it. I do think my beam might need some sanding to get smooth again, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be taking the grain off of these soon anyway. These things seem tanned. Does everybody have bad internet? Am I okay? I can't seem to get my own show on. Having problems today. Hey, welcome everybody. Let's see. Let's go back because I didn't see anybody's chat. Yeah, it's just a runner question. Yeah, double tap that screen, like this video. You know, we're working on crafty stuff here. I'm gonna maybe put this aside here for a minute. I don't want to scratch this up more. This may, and y'all can see. Maybe you can see as it dries a little bit more the damage to the grain there, right? See all that damage to that grain? Could have been a number of ways that happened. It's unfortunate, and I know show it every day, but I'm really on the fence about whether I should scrape that grain all the way off, and I'll show you what the resulting product is if you do that. So if you scrape the grain off, the resulting product is this right here, and this is in the drying process now, and this is called Buckskin, and it's probably not going to be this soft when it finishes. It's probably going to be pretty rigid. This has been drying for about a day, and I probably scraped this one too. This went through pretty good amount of time, 2+ weeks in oak in a oak bark liquor, right? And it had the grain scraped off. So it's like a combination tan, deer skin that's had the grain scraped off. So like if you're gonna compare it with something, it would be like a suede. And because I baited this and I brined it and I bucked it and what do you call it? Limed it really well. This should come out nice and thick, right? There should be a thickness to this that we didn't get from that first hide. Look, I see black streaks on there, but some of that is how it dried. I hung it up last night, and where it was hanging and it caught the wind, those wrinkled areas dried, right? So that's why you see black streaks in it. It's going to dry darker than this probably. I'll have to brush it out or scrape it or sand it to get it orange, right? Because if I take a scraper and go against it right now, let me show you what it looks like. That looks like a black streak, but I don't like that. I'm not loving that either. Should be a burnt orange color. So that's probably like mostly bark liquor in there right there. See that material that's coming out? I don't really want that out. I want that kind of in the grain. Actually, it is drying darker. I thought it would be like burnt orange. That was my guess. And every day this needs to be put against the beam, scraped or broken. This right here, this black spot's making me a little nervous. But I think, like I said, because I noticed on another hide where it was wrinkled, that was kind of like where it dried like that. But it looks a little cracked too. I don't like that look either. Anyway, it should be a softer, a little bit drapier material because the grain is part of what holds the leather rigid. And in a lot of cases, you leave the grain on and you bark tan, it's going to be a flat, big, and this may end up a lot like that, like a big, flat, thick piece of, like kind of like cardboard, but way stronger. You can stick a knife straight through cardboard. It's hard to do that with thick leather, right? That's why it's such a durable material. Yeah. I think it's YouTube, man. So we have to complain. Are we all right? Because I'm having trouble getting my signal too. The numbers are a little on the low side also, so I'm kind of surprised. It seems like maybe we have a YouTube's bandwidth is low. Anyway, buckskin, right? And what those are is pretty much, and I also brought out some other examples that these have been in bark or brain emulsion, and I soaked them in it. Now they're in the drying process. So what I would do with these is I would scrape these out as well and roll them. I could probably just do some against the beam I'm going to pull them. I'm not going to rehydrate these yet because I don't have another fat liquor. I know people like that word. It's one word, Liquor. So you guys got me worried about saying that. So this is a raccoon hide that's been bark tanned, and then afterwards, like I've been treating it with brain emulsion, and you can see there's a lot of beauty to that grain on there. It really doesn't matter what animal it is so much. It's the approach to tanning. So they say leather is made in the beam house. So how you approach the making of the leather is how the leather ends up. This sucks. I'm not getting a good signal either. Like at least as far as viewing the channel. So I don't know what's going on, but we'll keep going. So I've got those examples, and I got this little squirrel here, and I brought those out to show you, but I also kind of have to work those too. And then I have these that all need to be basically wrung out. The one I just did, which I should probably put aside here. This is another piece of buckskin that I'm doing. I believe this is buckskin. Nope, this is leather. Grain leather there. I'm gonna wring this out real quick over the beam. Not too rough because my beam is kind of rough already over this bucket. And this helps the tanning process accelerate when you wring them out and work them. So the more they kind of get worked, you get the liquid out of them so they can absorb new, fresh, strong tannins. That's how you accelerate the process. Otherwise, tanning a hide can take a very, very long time, up to years. But you can get it done, I think, in a few weeks if you are laboriously approaching it. You're getting up in the morning or up in the middle of the night, God forbid. You could probably do it quicker if you burn the midnight oil, to be truthful. But I'm not recommending that. Trying to read the chat, guys. Yeah. Hey, please do double tap that screen, like this video. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. This one is a bear right here. Not actually a bear in real life, like a pain in the butt. It's been tanned twice, this piece. Huge buck hide. It's like the size of an elk, man. This one has just been incredibly challenging. It didn't want to tan evenly. It doesn't want to scrape. It's hard to work because it's so cumbersome. Definitely wringing out on the beam helps a bit. That wasn't me. That was the hide farting. I promise. Huge skin and thick as well. It's been a real pain in the butt. So hopefully it's on its way towards getting done. Got spots on it from various metal items over the course of trying to manhandle it and wrestle with it is really what I'm doing with this hide since the beginning. It's been complete. I tanned it and then I put it in a very strong caustic soda bath, like a lye bath, washed it out completely, went back to white again, right? Then I re-tanned it, and it's a huge hide. So it takes a ton of tannins to tan this hide. But it looked so bad before that I said I cannot, and I re-tanned it. So you can go backwards. It's just a lot of work. Let me see. Laris Haratunian, welcome. Outdoor Malachi, welcome. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to do a few scrapes on this hide here. Just rudimentary. This is buckskin now. The grain's been scraped off. not super happy about how the grain side looks, but I've attacked it so many times now that I don't think it's going to change much. Move it, because the best this thing does is when I do this and then get it back into strong tannins first before any of the other hides, because it needs to soak in like 3 times. This is probably 3 to 4 times the surface area. It feels like it is of those other hides. Little laggy to you. It's super laggy to me. So I understand. For those of you who are struggling, my apologies. It's very laggy here. I can't read the chat really if there is any. Maybe that's a better spot. There's no cats, and yeah, I didn't kill them either, by the way. So, all the cats here are living. You know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for the turkeys, man. You know what I mean? Poor turkeys. They have to sit in these farms, like where they're so genetically engineered they can't walk because they're so fat. The broad-breasted white turkey, which is the turkey we basically genetically engineered to be our food, can't walk by the time it's an adult. You have to slaughter it. You know, there's really no other way to like deal with the animal, because it just like has a whole, it's in misery. It breaks its own body apart. It's too heavy. I feel bad for those turkeys. Their whole existence is misery. And then people who don't eat red meat choose to eat those because they think they're doing something good, and they're not. They're not doing anything good. But ignorance is bliss. If you walk around feeling like you have the moral high ground somehow, studies show you act worse to people, right? Studies show that you're a meaner person if you feel you've done something morally superior during your day. They did a study on people who shop at Whole Foods. No offense to any of my few people who shop at Whole Foods. If I had one around, I might pop in a couple times. But apparently, people who shop at Whole Foods are reported to be ruder people. And based on these surveys and different studies they've done, they think it is because they have this, there's like a complex you get basically where you feel like you've done your good turn in the day. So you've done your part. Now, anyone else who crosses your path is kind of like fair game, so to speak. I'm kind of, I'm paraphrasing it, but that's basically what it is. It's this idea of sanctimoniousness that you carry around based on doing a couple good things. Thanks for subbing and contributing. If that's what you call that, Heather. Let me get this. This needs to be scraped here. This area is, it's the neck area here. Real difficult to scrape. Real difficult tan too. The first time I tanned this thing, that part did not get done at all. Oh no, yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna pan too far. Yeah. A lot of there's dogs asleep on the yard right there. There's a cat asleep on my truck around the corner. There's birds in the yard that feel no fear whatsoever. Animals around here don't feel much fear from us. This is all about traditional methods, traditional crafts. We don't harm animals here. That's not what we do. We're showing how things are done. Traditional clothing, traditional techniques to making items that if you don't have the option to go to a store, you have to do things a different way. The winter storm over the next couple of days will be a little microcosm of that. Kind of people will start to feel that a little, especially if they lose their power. They're going to feel this, man, I'm cold, and God forbid, I don't want anyone to feel like that. These blankets don't warm me up. Oh my goodness. You had some like thick 8-ounce fur with leather on it, 8-ounce leather with fur on the back of it. It'd be like a shelter. You could huddle yourself in that, right? Like Luke Skywalker. I'm thinking this black stain might disappear because on my last hide, I had a couple of those and I don't see them anymore. So I'm going to go over the other side. Numbers. Kind of low today. But welcome anyway. Kind of expected this. Calvin's going to keep on going. That's kind of what my whole point was yesterday. Like, I can't stop. I'm a runaway train here. It's not gonna, I gotta finish what I'm doing here. Calvin's gonna keep doing Calvin. Ooh, regardless of the hate, frankly, left, right, and center. Some of it, maybe I brought it on myself. I'll admit that. That stuff off. Schmutz on the end of there. There's some schmutz. Still getting some. This thing's been scraped so many times. This hole right here was made by another deer. So when it was sparring with another buck, this hole was made. I knew it when I didn't kill this deer. This is roadkill. I found this deer though right after it got hit. It was very short. It was still warm when I dressed it, and it was steaming in the cold night. So that's how quickly I got to it. But this hole right in the middle of the back here was was where it got hit by, I presume, another male. Hardest hide I've had to tan yet. Kind of makes me feel like I don't know what an elk hide feels like or a bison hide, but I'm sure bison hides weigh like 40 or 50 pounds or something. They're really hard. This weighs like, this is 30 pounds, even when you scrape the moisture out of it. It's very heavy. Anyway, moving on. All right, I was going to give a couple of these to, this is actually leather from the face. So right here, this is kind of newly tanned piece. So it's not, doesn't look the same. That's the grain side. I got to scrape the flesh side on this. Not to gross folks out, but this is part of the process. Traditional skills, that's what we're doing. Definitely, this is an easy job that I can do quickly. This one was allowed to get pretty bad. Like I was got pretty funky, so it had to be kind of overhauled. Needed a lot of scraping, a lot of washing with soap and water, and even then, even now, it's still a little ripe. It's getting there. I can tell it's moving towards um, getting tan. You can see it kind of too, but it's got a lot more work on it. More work than any of those other hides do. This one's got the most. But use the whole animal, right? So that's what we're talking about here. This is a key portion of the animal. If you're trying to make leather products in your home crafting stuff, or you're limited on the, you have a bag limit and you don't want to kill every animal in your woods, you got to use every part of it. That's really where you got to get to right there. Got to bulldoze all of that off. I'm gonna have to shed a layer here. I need to be a layer down from that. We got so much stuff to do today. This is just one of many things. I'm not trying to like buy time. I have plenty of things, but this piece of leather, this piece of skin here has to be scraped. It's overdue. I'm gonna use this though. No, I'm not. I take that back. I'm not gonna use that. It's easier to bulldoze. I got it down with the draw knife, but with these things, these are dainty things. Man. You gotta kind of lean your weight here, push that thing down like that, and it's just you're only getting in one area. But I can see it wants me to take that much off. there's two approaches to take to this. There's the get it all off at once approach, which never really works because when you come back, there's always more. You know, even if you get it real clean, there's always little bits you missed. And then there's the scrape it over time. I think it's called wet scrape and dry scrape, but you check that. Woodshed by Dan. I can't stay. Got to get back to work and clean the windows on the bus today. Wow, they got you doing that? Y'all need a union. Nah, man. Bless your heart for taking care of those kids and keeping them safe on the way to and from school, man. We appreciate what you do. We appreciate your service. Keeping our children safe. Bus drivers, important people. Oh, it's his own bus. Okay, okay. Moving up in the world. The party bus. Effective, whatever I just did. Got my microphone on? No, I don't. Sorry, y'all. Sorry about that. I'm back. If you didn't hear me, I was telling Dan that I appreciate his. I know he has his own bus as well, but he also drives the kids. So thank you. I was saying thank you for his service for driving those kids to school safely, and getting them back home safely. It's not nothing, you know. I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a cursory scrape, man. And that was a cursory scrape. I did not put a lot of effort into that. It'll have to be scraped again. And we'll get more of it then. You know. This material they call scud. I saw these sponges the other day and they called them anti-scud, and I was like, that's interesting. I had only seen that word with regards to leather. I'd never seen it used like for dirt and stuff. Scud is like the flesh, hair, fat that's on a hide. Yeah, no problem, man. We appreciate you as a thank you. And I got your address. So we'll be sending something out to you. Some sort of a thank you gift is going to go out to our members. If you are not a member, do become a member. You know, click that little $sign down in the corner. I'm about to send out gifts, and we'll do a giveaway too with something real special. I just got to think of something special. We love giveaways here. This is going to be a giveaway to basically all members who submit their address. Dad's Workshop Calvin at yahoo.com. Do become a member. You know, we'll start spinning the wheel again here soon. Once I get some finished leather and can make some cool leather products. Combine that craft with the wood. I'm going to do a baseball stitch on the handle of the axis. My ultimate goal on that. So you see how it's not completely tan, right? It's got to go. It's been where it was wrinkled and where it was pushed up against the side. That's going to be what that looks like. As opposed to this deer hawk right here, where you can see it's like fully tan. That's the flesh side. That's the grain side. This one I think I'm going to take out and start drying now. I'll give it one more scrape. Started at the same time as these other ones, basically. Now there's this lump here where like the joint of the deer is. I don't really try to navigate that very much. I kind of like just lightly scrape around it and remove the scud by hand. It is kind of tricky. Probably a courier's knife would come in handy here. That's an old tool with like a curved blade, almost like a scythe, a tiny scythe. There's some value in my live stream talking about a knife that you rarely hear about now, a courier's knife. Probably see those amongst the trappers in the old days, trying to slice bits of flesh off of things, you know. We're doing traditional skills here at Dad's Workshop. That's what we do 6 days a week. Check out my long form video if you get a chance. This scraping process is going to help it well, if it was going back into tannins, which I don't think it is. I think I'm going to take this out, make a new brain emulsion, or what they call fat liquor, so you don't say it that way. Make a new one of those and then soak it in that for a couple days and then break it, like kind of like what I did with the other leather. This is like fully tanned. I think it's got a lot of scrapes to the grain. It probably could be frizzed and have the grain removed, but I think having grain on this one might be okay. Plus, I promised one or two of these to members, and so I want to get those out. Let's throw that in with the ones that are getting dried. Just wanted to show y'all this buckskin again. I'm super proud of it. I want to look at it again so you can blame me. This is the buckskin I'm making. It's been drying for a couple days now, so it had the grain removed from it. So it's like porous and rough like suede, or soft like suede, depending on how you want to look at it, on both sides, right? The suede is usually cow skin. This is a deer hide, so you can see here. This has been veg tanned at home. You know, veg tan leather from a store is made in commercial tanneries. You know, so it's not going to seem the same. It's not going to look the same at all. But this is like part what we call combination tan, because I've oak tanned it, right? I tanned it with bark, and now it's been sitting in fat liquor. Fat liqueur. I need to say fat liqueur so people don't say fat liquor all the time. I probably shouldn't show those, but I have ears that I'm tanning as well. This one also looks done. This hawk from the leg of a deer. I'm going to scrape the back of this. Might as well zoom in if we're doing these kind of. See if I can do it here. I got water on the phone, so it might do funny stuff. I gotta hold on a second. All right, so you're kind of zoomed in now. You can kind of see this is the flesh side here. I'm gonna scrape this by bulldozing it, right? And you get this scud off, right? This helps the tanning process continue. See how it's letting water out of there too? So scraping is also pressing water out of it. But this material that's coming off is called scud usually. You and I know it as like skin, well, not skin, meat, fat, hair, various things that are on the, the underside of the epidermis, subdermal. And this is sometimes referred to as bulldozing. You're actually putting your body weight against it and on it and scraping down to remove that material. In this case, it's gonna be the last time I do that with this piece. It looks fully tanned to me. The way you tell is by cutting it open, and we can do that in a second. And looking, you gotta let it dry though, and that'll take overnight. So I won't be able to show it to you till tomorrow. Oops. See, that's not good for the grain for it to slide on the beam like that. I got to keep it secured here. So I'm going to lean up against it better. Hard with these small ones, man, because you don't have anything to hold on to. I got to get that last bit off though. I don't think I baited these. No, maybe I did. I can't. Yeah, maybe I did bait these. They are a little bit thin, but that skin is very thin. In fact, that part of the body on a deer is crazy. It doesn't have muscle. It just has skin and then tendons and bone. It's quite interesting, actually. All right, done with that one. You can see that's the grain side there. That's what's called a hock. Maybe the skin from the leg. And that one's ready to go into the drying process. I'm going to take my other hides that I scraped, kind of, sort of, and put them back in this bucket. This is grain leather that I'm making here. You can see. And there's a connection. It's not just me making leather and showing it off. I'm going through daily processes with this leather. What you're looking at is oak bark tanned leather here. Um, kind of proud of it. I'm not gonna lie. A tree that was cut down to because it hit a power line in my folks' neighborhood. I looked at it and I said, that bark looks like it has a lot of tannin in it, and it did. So my instinct was good, and it was able to tan some hides kind of quickly because it was just so strong. I also collected some what do you call them? Uh, oak galls. They're almost like little burrows. I'll show them to you. But anyway, I did a test, and I want to show you all the results of that test. We always do tests here at Dad's Workshop. And so the test was, can I dye leather, tanned leather, right, in this oak gall? What I put in here was what do you call it? Steel wool and oak galls. And so I put tanned leather in the steel wool and oak galls, and this is the result. All right, it's pre-tanned leather, so it looked like what you see on this axe cover. So it's not black. I want you to make that connection. I've also oiled this, so it's darker than the dry color of the leather. But I'm looking at the two of them, and I see this is marked difference. This is definitely ebonized or black, right? So The ebonization process is a chemical process where uh, fabrics or whatever become black based on the interaction of um, tannic acid and ferrous metals. And so what you're looking at is leather that's been ebonized, right? It can be done in wood too. People do it with apple cider vinegar and steel wool. And then the wood's tannins create that ebonization. But here we have it on a strap of leather. It works. So I'm psyched about that because we can use a natural dye process to blacken leather if we want black straps. We want to, if I want to make boots and I want to make them black from the outset, I can do it naturally. So I'm psyched about that. Hopefully you stuck around to see that. I have a whole bunch of things I want to do today. I hope I get to everything. Finally, let me put this last. This is the last grain on hide I have. These are pretty much tan. I could probably take them out, but I think I'm going to strip the grain off in a process that's referred to as frizzing. And once I scrape that grain off and frizz it, it's going to be buckskin. But I'm going to leave it in tannins until I get to that point. Oh, my stitching not perfect on that thing because I just learned how to sew. It's like a new thing. It's a new skill for me. But I have to do another part. I'm going to show y'all what I need to do. But before we do the leather work, I think I need to take these gloves off and do some woodwork. This is my leather working pony. I think I had this set up here yesterday. That's probably where I'll put it today. Seemed to work. I want it to fall. See if I skipped a lot. There we go. Getting stuff organized here. And just like I was telling Wes earlier, every day you got to check your tools, right? I don't even need to check. I think I probably need to sharpen my chisels real quick here. And I don't even mean real quick. Just sharpen my chisels in general. Which y'all know is a daily thing. Gotta do that daily. At least polish them. Give them a polish so that they're nice and sharp. I gotta work this mallet handle, or I keep calling it mallet handle, hatchet handle. Come on, there we go. All right, this is a whetstone here. I'm gonna give it a couple sprays and dress it real quick. That's better already. Sounds better. And I go by sound sometimes when it comes to how my chisels are sharpening. Like if it doesn't sound right off, I could probably show you by flipping the stone over. You know, and by the way, my name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. Do subscribe to the channel. We just do skills here. This is kind of a, what do we call it, multidisciplinary creative approach to most things here. Shout out to Ron again. No, he doesn't care if I do this, but this is a a spring steel hatchet head that he made for me. He forged for me up in Canada and sent all the way down here to North Carolina. I've made a little sheath for it. It's kind of temporary out of deer skin that I tanned myself. So that is all crafted from scratch. Sorry if that's a little snobby. Not sorry though at the same time. Moving over here to, I've got a couple things I want to show you when it comes to what I'm going to sew in my next thing, and actually some things I've learned to help me reinforce it. I'm going to show you what I learned. Hey, Rob. Did I get it right? There we go, Rob. Welcome, Rob. Where's my fine stone? I need the little baby stone. There it is. I might even put my it's that sound right there. If I had a camera behind me right now, I'll show you the way it looks too. It has a good look as well. Like it's even. The kind of striations of strop there are, and this is my own personal strop I made from a deer leg. Just a scrap. Dad's Workshop Calvin at yahoo.com. Send me your address if you're a member, and I will send you some scrap deer strops so that you guys strop for your tools. You don't even have to buy leather for that. I'll send it to you free of charge, no shipping, all of that. So Dad's Workshop Calvin at yahoo.com. Drop your address in there. It'll be part of your little thank you gift if you are a member. Do become a member. Do become a member. That button down in the corner with the dollar sign is how you do that. Rob says he would love some leather. I would love to give you some, Rob. Love the kids. Reminds me of that Trick Daddy song. You got that album? Oh, he doesn't like South rap. That's right. Wes doesn't like South rap. I gotta remember that. Every time I say something like that, I'll be like, you know UGK, that UGK song? He'll be like, what? I'm really kind of real deliberate with each stroke now, guys. I ever since I sharpened my chisel at an angle, I think everybody's kind of experienced this who's done this for a long time, and I had to readjust them. I'm more careful about how level my stone sits. Is it? Yeah, 8,000. This is a polishing stone here, man. I've got these all pretty sharp. This is all just fine stuff because I'm picky. If I'm in a pinch, I use this diamond stone right here. Like if I'm on the road and I'm like cleaning an animal or something, I like this diamond stone. I don't even know if you can get these anymore. This is probably 50 years old or something. See how it's made with bark tan leather? I hardly ever do nothing like that anymore. The powder on my hands is cornstarch. It helps me put my gloves on without struggling. Yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, Wes says. Some not, but Trick Daddy, no. You know some. Okay, good. Yeah, yeah, that. There's one track he had on one of his albums. But he said that. Yeah, Dad's Workshop does love the kids. We love the kids. And remember, we're not just polishing for ASMR purposes here. Oh, wrong side there. We're polishing so that we can have a nice sharp chisel to work this handle with here. 8,000 grit. About to finish this up here. I kind of want to take, although I'll tell you, my framing chisel felt real sharp, but let's run it over the polishing. See, y'all can see, see how this is all from my shop having salt water in it. That's where all that corrosion comes from. But you see the edge, that's all that matters. How's your edge look? I'm going to keep holding this here until the lag shows me this thing so I can see the shot. There we go. It's not right in there. Y'all see that? Real happy with these chisels too. Shout out Narex. Don't pay me anything. They don't pay me anything, but definitely their chisels have done very well for me. Just do this once over real quick right here. Quick one. I'm putting significant downward pressure is what I always tell people on these. So each stroke is, there's material coming off. Oh yeah, love that sound. Wes says, remember Wes, RS832 says he puts corn stash. See, I need to go to elocution lessons. Unless I put whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. Whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. All right, now let me read comments. I put the cornstarch on my mustache for the same reason. Wes says, I've got some fallen hickory in my yard, been down for like 3 months. Can I use that for firewood this weekend? You can use it for firewood, absolutely. In Georgia, 3 months. Oh, dang. That's just so it's still got bark on it. Because if it fell in the fall, like if it fell in the autumn, trees usually keep their bark on. So yeah, I should have tagged them, shouldn't I? I should. That's a good idea. Um, if it has bark on it, it's probably dried a little slower, and it's only been out. You can burn anything in there, but you're going to get more creosote in your if you're burning it in a wood burner if it's still wet, and you're going to get a lot of smoke, right? I would split it, season it like that, right? Do you have a splitter besides Wes? Wes is strong. Wes can be the splitter. You split your wood, pile it up, and season it, and then burn it next year. Don't burn it now. Hickory and pecan are the same tree, basically the same wood. It's gonna be. I just burned some kind of young hickory, bitter nut hickory, probably the same one as what you got recently. It was a little smoky in my dad's wood burner. I would chop it up with your chainsaw that you got, Wes, and then make a stump that you can split on. And I know you got that good axe, or you got a splitter. Take a mallet and a splitter, split it up, pile it up, and let it go till next year. But keep it, in emergencies for if it gets cold this week, obviously. Yeah, ice storm weekend, obviously. That's emergency wood right there. But split it up because you can't use it when it's in that orientation that it's in now. It's not going to do you any good, obviously. In a log that's going to get snowed on and potentially iced over. So thinking in terms of the ice storm and current events and all that, you should I think you should split it up. This is my straw. All right, those two chisels nice and sharp. I was using my framing chisel yesterday with good results. Let me do a little slight polish on that. And I'm not trying to extend this bit. It's not actually my favorite thing to polish stuff. See this drop on that? Bye, Wes. See you later, man. Thanks for coming. I'm keeping pressure down on it right now. I think we're ready to go. I'm gonna put this on my hands, man. It's cold out here. This is like beeswax and a number of other things. Olive oil, coconut oil, stuff that's good for your hands. This is while I handle stuff I'd rather have not dried out. Kind of I think this is where I got dried out, and this is where it is. I'm trying to prevent that. All right. Here we go. On to the next thing, right, y'all? So this handle needs to be shaped, and I have a shape here. So what I'm going to do is do some saw cuts. I'm going to make a wedge, and we're going to attach this hatchet head here to this handle that we made. Now the hatchet head was made from scratch by Ron LaFleur up in Canada, and the little sheath, I'm going to expand this today by adding a strap that goes around so that it attaches on. So that's what we're going to do here at Dad's Workshop today. Welcome. My name is Calvin. You are in Dad's Workshop. It's kind of rest and relaxation if I'm not in a bad mood, you know. Well, that's convenient. A cockroach was actually on my hatchet, so it was like showing me the murder weapon. All right. You guys, your side is going to be a little mysterious because you're not going to see the contour that I'm working with over here. Don't want to hit my vise there. Let's start with that. Start with that. And a stop cut. That wasn't very good. That should be going down, so I missed. There's a couple. This needs to be. So this can be done in a number of ways because, you know, woodwork, there's a lot of different tools to use. You could use you could probably do this with a jigsaw. Actually, you could definitely do this with a jigsaw. You could have done what I just did with a bandsaw and potentially cut the curve out. But if you only got one bandsaw blade, I wouldn't recommend putting it around curves unless you're pretty good with it. But we do stuff, a lot of stuff, not everything, but a lot of stuff we do here in Dad's Workshop, we use hand tools for to show kind of how efficient hand tools can be, you know, in a pinch or just in general, if they're sharp. You know, if you got a good sharp set of hand tools, they're pretty useful. They do a lot of good stuff. Let me put one more saw cut here. Don't do this with reckless abandon, but you know, you can kind of go a little aggressively with that. It's only going to go down to where the stop cut is theoretically, right? Oops. I'm going to take some of that material out anyway. Let's be careful here. I'm using the back of the chisel for that. You didn't notice? Whoa. Yeah, so I can take this down a bit. Might actually make those saw cuts a little lower. I think maybe, maybe not. Oh, let me see here. Kevin said, I guess I missed it, Calvin. What happened to the piece of cherry wood you were using for handle? I'm going to show you right now. This is what happened. It's too short. Good question, though, Kevin. Thank you for the question. Here's the piece of cherry wood. I'm not going to throw this away because I think I'm either going to use it to put a handle on the chisel that Ron sent, or I can use it to handle something else. I've got other implements here. I'm not going to throw it away. But we followed the same basic design. This is an ash handle here. This was the cherry handle. Just good question, Kevin. I'm going to flip this around because the grain wants me to cut it the other way. Yeah. I'm also going to wrap this handle with bark tan deer leather and do a baseball stitch on it. That'll give it a little extra measure of comfort in use, you know, and it'll give it an extra measure of strength too. Hopefully. I mean, if it breaks the wood, the leather's not going to stop it, but it might once it hardens on and that stitch tightens down. I think uh, probably it will uh, it will add strength. Also add style to it. Should look really good. But form over function. I mean, function over form. Excuse me. Function over form. That's our motto here. But we like form too. That's important. Not worried about that. We can fix that. That was a perfect slice. A little curly cue. Boom. Where's my small mallet? I don't like the way that side looks. I got my moisture meter. I bet if I tested the moisture on this ash, it would be pretty dry. I mean, it was kiln dried and it's been around for years. I've had this ash for like probably 10 years. This is the last piece of it, actually. I had big boxes and boxes of this and cherry wood. 1x3s, really nice wood too. They don't even sell it anymore. The company that sold it's defunct now. Let me put this up like this. I got an idea here. It's not tight enough in there. It's not much support wood there. I looked at it a whole bunch yesterday. I said, can this handle stresses being whacked against stuff? And I think the answer is yes to a certain extent. If you hammer it against something like trying to break it, probably you could probably break it. The handle, if I could do it over again, it would be a little bit thicker in the skinniest part. We're gonna get all the right angles out of this thing too, like all of the places you see square, we're gonna get out. Hey, Kevin, thank you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Drum roll. Kevin L. Thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. Super chat's not a magic power. Kevin L. Just click that little $sign down in the corner. That's how we did it. And then he made a very generous $1.99, which I consider very generous. I have not received any super chats today. I do not take super chats for granted. Thank you, Kevin, for helping support our program. I said I'm getting rid of all right angles on this thing right now. Not that way though, because that didn't want me to do that. Yeah. I like that angle. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks again to Kevin for the $2 super chat. Big thanks for supporting the channel here. Everything adds up. We're appreciative of everything. Ooh, that was a nice little piece of wood that just came off of that. So was that one. Hopefully y'all saw that. Little corkscrew. I'm barely even putting any downward force on this thing right here. Oh, I'm going to change the angle to do that. Wish y'all could see that. That's unfortunate. We're getting rid of all these little angles because we're going to round this thing off. The more and more you get to a curve, the less and less you'll pick up if you apply that same amount of pressure, right? So as you're kind of carving that curve, it's just what you're speaking stream of consciousness here. As you're getting that curve more accurate, as you're applying that same pressure, you're getting less material. So we're curving that much better. I'm gonna put that leather right around the weakest part of this handle here. I actually want to bring the back in here, so I'm gonna bring this back in a bit too. It's gonna have like a little recurve to it. I think I can do that. I looked at it last night. I don't see, as long as it comes back upward, it's got to be like right in here. Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I had planned out. I think. Yeah. You know, not see now. I just adjusted it. They should be able to see now. Hmm? Oh, new roots. Welcome. Yes, this is the hatchet handle. Thank you for asking. Welcome, by the way. So you're working on a Harley Davidson table. I saw your short. Shout out. New roots. Ooh, we turned that off on purpose. You didn't like it? Oh, the light. Yeah. I came out to make sure that side was marked for you. Oh yeah, so nah, I didn't mark on both sides. I only marked on one side, and I'm kind of just like eyeballing both ways. I want to make sure I did my mind, the engineering works. The design I like here to take some of the material out, and I know it's got to be basically gracefully down from there. You can make new roots a mod, yeah. Mm-mm. I don't like that at all. That was kind of a little bit of what I was afraid of. We don't want to do a lot of that. I'm gonna come from this side here. I think my goal was to take material out behind that to, let me see, to kind of match or or parallel that curve on the front. So I think I'm going to take like a bit off right here to about right there probably. Y'all see that? Probably come from here to about right there. I feel like it should still have the strength. Maybe a little shy of that, a little shallow of that, like up in here. I just want it to have some of that. I feel like it'll still have the strength that it needs. If it doesn't, then I'll never make another handle like that again. But my gut is that this will have enough strength with a little bit more elegance in the curve, because these handles can be really heavy if you don't kind of take off material where you can. If you're swinging it a lot, yeah, yeah. So the axe head has a bearded, like asymmetrical shape to it, right? So I think the recurve complements that. That's my belief. Yeah, that's the theory I'm going, abstract theory I'm going on. I've seen it done with other, with certain knives that are real considered powerful knives. You have a sympathetic recurve that allows the knife to like be swung a little harder. If that makes sense, if I'm saying that correctly. Now you could probably do this with bent wood if you have a steamer. I have a couple pieces of blackjack oak where I considered actually using them as this handle because I think it probably would work, especially if it's a trunk and not a branch. If you got a trunk and not a limb, you can probably get that the strength you need from that. I'm tempted to take my framing chisel and kind of go over these curves because it's wide enough. You got a wide enough chisel in these scenarios. Yeah, it follows behind the swing, so it has more momentum. I'm gonna bring that in. I can't do too much here. It's just gonna be square. I think maybe just I wanted to just kind of do this nice and easy here. The other thing I needed to do was there was something about the shape of these. It needs to be flat on the back here. So you see how this right here talks about your perception and how your perception is different than reality. My perception was the eye of the hatchet had this curve up here, but it's not. It's flat right there. So this little neck needs to be taken down to actually match the hatchet head properly. So we'll do that too. Then I think I'm kind of good with that. I'm just going to square this up, and then I'll round the rest off. I'm going to just barely go in there with chisels to kind of to mimic that curve a little bit. I don't want to take much more wood off there, but I will do that. But first, let me get those edges. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We are here 6 days a week in general. Not always, because I have things to do just like everybody. And if not complaining, but YouTube is not. It actually is more of a hobby than a business. Not for me. It is actually my full time. Like I do this full time, so I take all the support I can get. But I do have to do family stuff and things like that. So this one's not as bad, though it's not. I don't want to take too much of this meat off here. It fit really well on the hatchet head, so yeah, I definitely don't want to do that. I don't want any more. My wedge mortise or whatever you call that is already ugly enough that I don't want to do any more of that. Oh man, that was bad. That was bad right there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work with that. There's nothing I can do besides this here. Hopefully it's got enough to hold it right there. That was definitely not on purpose right there. That was an uh-oh. Oops. Tried to get that, but you got to approach things the right way, and I should know better. Right here, I'm going to file that. Then I'm going to chisel this down just a little bit to kind of mimic that curve. I'm going to sand this. What was the next thing? And then try the hatchet head on. I want to work the hatchet head some too. Yeah. Let me get this thing. Let me get this thing finished because I feel like I'm really close here. More than I wanted. Won't take but a little bit with this guy here. I'm just trying to meet that curve right there. By the way, this is my Robert Sorby chisel here. One of my favorite chisels. It's a framing chisel. It's not really that appropriate for this kind of work, but I use it for a lot of different stuff, especially when I want a nice flat. You know, I don't have much of my planes aren't real sharp right now, so for little spots like this, I can kind of get a planing effect from it. Yeah, but my draw knife is dull. My draw knife I use for hides, so I keep it kind of dull. I don't like a draw knife either because you pull it towards you, and I never been good at. The only thing I like to pull towards me is like a pull saw. It's not that I don't think you're right about that. It's just a difference in technique is all it is, man. You know, the approach I should say, difference in approach. I do have a draw knife right here, man, somewhere. Just was using it a few minutes ago. It's got a lot of Ferris little bits on it though, because I've been using it to scrape hides. I set it down somewhere around here. Looking pretty rough. Yeah, my preferred tool is not going to be a draw knife on this. If you had a spoke shave, is probably what you want to use, to be honest, which I also don't have. Wes had a spoke shave song. It's time for the spoke shave. Looks like a job for the spoke shave. Never mind. Looks like a job for the spoke shave. Love that song. I don't know what I did with my draw knife. I set my draw knife down somewhere around here. I will show it to you so you can see how, kind of dull it is. Needs to be kind of re-edged, I think. No, it's here. I was using it, or I was looking at it a minute ago. It's out here. Don't worry. Don't you worry about it, Heather. I'll find it. It's just sitting under something. This is. I'm trying to make sure I don't go up to the head there. Probably should make a stop cut right here, but I'm too lazy, I guess. Yes, it was laziness. If I do that, notice I'm grabbing the workpiece and holding with my hand here. If I'm drawing kind of my knife towards me, because it's just a measure of protection to keep me from actually pulling the tool towards myself. Hey, thanks for being here, new roots. Appreciate you, man. New mod. So I think we're actually getting towards the end of the handle construction here. A lot of people don't like the slowness of this, but it's just part of the process of making things. It's slow. So now it's got that little sympathetic recurve I wanted. Uh, Hopefully not pathetic recurve, but sympathetic. Definitely got an exaggerated foot to it, but I like that because we're gonna put some leather around here eventually. Now, what I'm gonna do now is actually give it a hand sanding. Yeah, man, of course. Said, yeah, yeah. Neward said, yes, sir. Thanks for the mod privilege again. If you're on later, I'll try to pop in. Got 3 client pieces and a piece for our home, so stay fairly busy. Great, man. Keep up the good work, and hope you make some money, make some good stuff. Shout out New Roots. Appreciate you, man. I may be on. I got a lot of stuff to do here in the shop, so I can't worry too much about numbers. I'll just leave the camera on, kind of, and keep going. All right, let's sand this thing. First with a little bit of grittier sandpaper, and then with a finer one. And we'll do it by hand. Being careful not to actually sand the part that goes through the axe head. I don't know. There may be a name for that part. Then I don't have anything. Wear a mask. It's crazy. Ash is worse too. I'm gonna be coughing all day because of this. PPE, man. I just told somebody the other day too. Do as I say, not as I do. It's like a lump right there, is what I feel like. I can see a lump right there. All right, now I'm gonna wipe this down with some sort of a solvent here. We got like a sympathetic recurve now. I think it's still very strong, even in the skinniest part. We've got it carved out. It's sanded down. Now I'm going to wipe down this thing with some mineral spirits, which is a petroleum distillate. You can use, well, I do have like a more environmentally friendly solvent up here, which is orange. See, the thing is you can't smell though, so it doesn't matter to you. But I have orange solvent up here, a citrus solvent. But I'm going to use mineral spirits just to make sure I get that dust off really. I also have tung oil over here with some penchacryl and some other things in it mixed up already that I'll probably spread on it right afterwards. Looks like I see a little bit of lumpage right here too on the camera. A little lumpy right there. Yeah. Aim for perfection, end up with mediocrity, and you won't be mad about it, right? Or will you? I don't know. Coming up, I'm getting it. Thank goodness. Sorry about that, guys. It's adult proof. I'm actually going to use this little bit of paper towel I got down here because I don't really need to use my clean towel for this kind of strong chemical. This is going to already make it look good because it's going to take that dust off. Bring it down to the grain. Almost as if it's stained. It's because it's designed to actually get down into that grain. Unfortunately, I do enjoy the smell of it, even though it's not good for you. All right, so you see that beautiful, pretty consistent, what do they call that, flat song? What is like that? That grain there. I'm going to take just some of I got some oil over here that I use on my skin, really. I also got some of this linseed oil, boiled linseed oil and beeswax. But I think I'm going to pass on that today because I think this stuff's actually better. I don't really care what other oils are in there particularly right now. I just want to have some sort of oil in there. This would be something, if it didn't have the essential oils in it, you could use on, it's like food safe. You could use it on cutting boards, etc. That you have. But because it has those essential oils and stuff in it, it smells strong. You probably wouldn't want to use it on cutting boards. But you guys don't have smell-o-vision. And I'm not worried about having that smell. Ooh, this is the spot I missed with the sandpaper. How do I tan a deer hide? Great question. So let's start to ask. I'm going to ask you the first question. Here goes the first question. Now, I'm not an expert, but I'm here to answer your questions because I tanned a bunch of deer hides. Again, not an expert. There are better people to ask. But are you trying to keep the hair or are you trying to tan leather? Here we go with the handle in there. Are you trying to keep the hair on the deer or are you trying to make leather? Two different things, two different processes. And if you're a beginner, I'm going to guess that you want to keep the hair on, right? Okay, so you want to scrape that flesh off, man. Or if you can't, and I got a bad example over here because it has flesh on it, but it's kind of gross. A neck back here that still has some flesh on it. But what you have to do is salt it. Use a fine, non-iodized salt. Salt the flesh side of your hide completely, like an eighth of an inch thick. Salt it really, really thick. Get it all the way. Use your fingers and go all the way to the edges. And then get a board like this, like you see behind me. See where those hides are? And then you can use clamps. I recommend clamps because you don't need to use galvanized nails, but you need to use some kind of a nail and pin it to that board and then let that salt work and dry it out. Stretch it, pull it all the way tight, stretch it on the board, right? Now you don't see any hides nailed to that board right now, but it's had a bunch on it. So yeah, do that first. Salt it, nail it to the board, and then the next steps are going to be once it's stretched out and stuff, we'll take it down. You'll take it down. You'll make a brine out of salt and vinegar, and soak it in that for only a day or two. And then I got some other instructions for you, but start with that, man. That's enough to do for like 2 days. Whoops. Got a message from my kid's school. So here's the hatchet handle right here that we just did, and here's the hatchet head. I think they look really good together. They feel balanced. They have a visual balance to them. Let's kind of hammer this on here. I haven't even started working the hatchet head yet, which I'm going to do as well because I'm going to do that because Ron said do that, and I'm going to make sure that it's like uniform. Like there's some spots I want to kind of to get flat, and then I can kind of sharpen it a little bit better that way. I'm going to put this over this gap, like French style stay fast gap in my hold fast gap in my bench, and then it's going pretty well. Now the only thing I regret is this little chip that I took out right here. So you see how that fits now. You can almost use it, but it needs to be wedged on the top still. Once I wedge that thing, and I'm going to wedge it pretty strong because I feel it's pretty loose up there. We're going to wedge it strong, and then we're going to put a little leather grip on the handle here, and we'll be ready to go. Feels really good, actually. I don't mind hitting my messy bench with it. Let's do this here. Trying to find something metal that I can kind of get it down. Oh, and then I have this here, which is also, this is a spring steel chisel that was made for me too. You see the tang? I got to make a handle for that too. So there will be some more woodworking here. Not really good way to do that. Even this one, I don't want to break it. Probably rather do like a metal on metal deal there. The reason I like spring steel, and the reason he made it out of spring steel for me, is because if I hit a nail or something or a piece of metal while I'm trying to work wood or in an emergency situation, the head won't get messed up from that. Now this is the pouch that I made. Let me flip the hatchet around. That I made, and I just learned how to sew. So forgive my sewing skills. This is made out of leather that I tanned myself here. We started this yesterday. We put a snap on it. Thanks to Miss Heather. Thank you so much for helping me do that. Just learned how to put snaps on stuff too. So snap down. See, it's good for protection just here, right? But it's not good enough. I need a strap that goes around the back of the hatchet to protect, to hold that on. Mike, welcome. Careful, it looks like a hatchet. That's right, man. We got to be careful. So that's why I got a little. You're right, Mike. That's why we made a little sheath for it. But the sheath is a bit too small. So what we're gonna do is either I can make a new sheath, which I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna do that today. I think I'm gonna take a strap of leather that I made, and I'm gonna stitch it down here. It's gonna go around, and then I'll sew it. I'll have Miss Heather put a button. I'll leave it loose today, but we'll have Miss Heather put a button on so that I can snap it. It goes around and holds the little sheath on. So welcome to Dad's Workshop. That's what we're doing. Pretty proud of this thing. By the way, Ron made this homemade at homemade 1970. Check out his channel. That is Ron LaFleur, and he made he made the head here. He also made that chisel that I just showed you. He forged them, hand forged these. So the next thing is that we're gonna sew, but I first want to show y'all, and I'm gonna take a quick water break. And today numbers are numbers are less important today for me. I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to get through, and it's like an actual active learning day for me here in the shop, in Dad's Workshop. So there's a lot of stuff on the agenda. I have my sewing pony over here, and I have some thread. I have some soy wax here. You can use beeswax too. I have some soy wax, and I have a heat gun. And I have this red thread here. I'm going to show y'all how to wax thread, right? We're going to run the thread through this wax so that thread has that extra protection. I'm not going to use that wax thread today. Just a caveat. I have another, well, I don't know if I brought my, oh, it's in my backpack. My sewing kit has wax thread in it already, but if you're working leather, you want to wax your thread. Great. Yeah, we are getting a bit low here. We may have to do a part B today or something. The other possibility is if I unhook microphones and stuff like that. Hold on one second. Let me check. Pretty low. It's all right. I'm gonna try to maintain for now another 10 minutes or so here, and do this. I'll skip the waxing of the thread, but what you do is you got to I've got a heat gun. You heat the wax up, you kind of let it get a little soft, and then you pull your thread through that wax, right? And that's what you use on your leather. Leather's not just fabric; it's skin, so you have to treat it as such. It's a little different than handling, fabrics. But what we will try to do is I will take a piece of leather here, around back. Um, I think I brought my scrap leather bag. Let's see if we got enough here. Maybe a little bit longer than I thought. I got to have a continuous kind of a thicker piece than that. That would be enough, but it's not thick enough there on the other side. Trying to do this with scrap and not a full piece of leather here, but I might have to use a. I almost feel like I took too much off right there because that would have been okay before. It could probably be done if you braided some hide too. That is like the biggest piece I got. I can sew it together too. I can do it in two pieces, but that's a lot of work for this. I'm wondering, do I have a couple? I have a couple straps I cut out to kind of be straps. Also can snap behind, so I could do it with two pieces. They would both have to be stitched. Oh, that'll work right there. And I'll just even that out right there. Probably has to be evened out. Well, not probably, it should be. Kind of, I think it's going to depend on how strong the stitch is against this thing. Yeah, I think I can do that though. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll have to do a part B to get the sewing in. I wanted to do the sewing and stitching today. That's unfortunate. Oh, well, I can do. You know what I can do? I could probably try to do the top stitch right here on this because this needs a top stitch, kind of like right here. That's what I'll do. Yeah, I wanted to do some stitching. I'm gonna do a top stitch like right along this thing here. I think we'll do that. It's something I can do with my time, and then this will be my strap that I will use for later. And so we'll just move the camera over. I think I could probably handle that. Yep. We'll get a few minutes of that in. You're gonna follow along this thing. This is decorative. It has no structural purpose whatsoever, I think. So we're gonna just run that stitch across the top. But before I do that, I gotta make some. Hopefully y'all can see down here. I need an angle where you guys can see all of that. Oh, silly kid. Give me myself here, folks. And a drink because I stand out there forever and talk. I'm just gonna do a saddle stitch as a top stitch here. I'm gonna do a baseball stitch soon. I'm gonna practice my baseball stitch. This is like a little stitching iron. So it puts holes in there, and I'm not worried about the surface too much, though it is Heather's table, so I should probably do it over this leather right here. Yeah, let me use a smaller one. And they come with little smaller ones usually, so I can do this here. It's a little tricky when you're working through fur. I'm gonna put it through this side here. Can't see very well there. That's it. I'm gonna take that little scrap piece off of there, so that one won't be a factor. That's probably not far enough from the edge, but remember this isn't a structural stitch. So shouldn't be a big deal. These things kind of make the holes at triangles, which makes it easier for the leather to be strong there. I'll go ahead and finish and do a seam down this way. Maybe that's not very good. I can kind of trim around it. That probably should have been better thought out. But I learned this. I'm kind of new to this. Woodwork I do a lot of. This is I'm new to. All right, that seems to be all right. And then I'm going to take my awl and I'm going to push it through to make sure that those holes are open enough to allow me to stitch through without killing myself, my fingers and stuff, you know. I don't know if I brought out scissors. When is long? All right, my needle here. I kind of showed y'all how I threaded these yesterday if you were here. You just kind of snake it on there and push it through, then pull it down, right? And you're threading the needle on both sides. This is for the saddle stitch that I'm going to use. Dang, that one doesn't want to go through. That edge is kind of frayed. Dang, it really doesn't want to go through there. It's really twisted up here. Same thing. This is actually my Glover's needle here. I have a Glover's needle and a upholstery needle hooked together. They're both different size. So I don't have two Glover's needles. Maybe you could bring a charger out. Yeah, I thought about that a minute ago, but now I got it thread. What? Was that the thank you for your opinion person, or was that something else?
You have a threader in here.
Yeah, no, that little thingy, if it didn't fall out, hopefully. I got them threaded.
You got a thread? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to show you how to use it.
Yeah.
But that's what I said. I said you can unplug this and move it on over, and then you can just camera audio because you're going to be close enough.
Yeah.
And you'll get a thing. So I guess I need to know. Ooh, yeah, you need a charger.
Yeah. So here, let me do this.
I'll do it over your shoulder.
Okay.
That way you can.
Actually, I didn't even think about this being like this. Let me do it like I'm gonna turn it sideways here on the vise or the pony. That's what they call these things. This is just a top stitch, but I'm going to use the saddle stitch here. This is not really a continuation. This stitch is actually structural. This is for the front of the thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to top stitch this just decoratively. It's good for me for my practice. And so I got my needle threaded on both sides here. I'm going to put the needle through. And I actually kind of want to sew this on here. So I'm going to actually poke a hole with the awl through that part as well. And I don't want to break my little clamps are valuable here. I'm actually going to, there's a little scrap of leather behind it. And I think I'm going to sew right through that to start here. But I don't want to poke myself again. I got myself good yesterday. This is tricky. There we go. So the first one's going to actually go through those two pieces there. Now, a lot of people would actually do this. They would use the awl every time that they put a hole through. So, like, it looks like I actually made holes there. I probably could do that too. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, actually, I'm going to use the awl here. I have a tiny piece of fabric. I probably would use a razor to cut.
You're on in-camera audio.
That's fine. Sorry, I had to switch to in-camera audio in order to preserve the live stream. All right, so we're going to go through. We'll start from the right-hand side here, which is the way I was taught to do this. Right, and you make a cross, right? Cross, pull that through. Sorry, see, I hit the camera there. I don't know how often that's going to happen. And then, can you all still see? All right, good. Pull that down. We want to go over it. Make sure you don't go, if you have to, you got to, stick your awl back through so that you don't accidentally go through the thread. You don't want to do that. It becomes a pain in the butt. It's kind of a large hole there. Didn't mean for that to happen. All right. See, I'm a beginner, so I learned this stuff. And actually teaching it to other people, not really teaching. I'm not trying to instruct you. It's actually just helping me learn it. They say if you teach something to someone else, you learn 70% more. So let me show you the way I did. So you got to cross it over there, and then you switch. I'm going to switch hands. Pull that through. Push this down, and then over. And see, I'm going to go ahead and do the due diligence of pushing my awl through if I can't seem to get my needle over top. That's what I've done. Somebody might say that's the wrong way to do that. Same thing again, man. Just repetitive, making it cross though, right? I'm kind of sloppy with that yet. Pull the stitch down. Sorry, my fingers look dirty. It's actually not filth. It's like from tanning leather. This leather that I'm working with right now, I actually tanned this leather myself. So from start to finish, this is something that I made, right? Not just, I didn't grab leather from the store. This is actually my own leather. I'm gonna put one more here, I think, if I didn't make a hole for it. Let me see if I do have, yeah, there's a hole there, okay. Remember, I'm just doing a top stitch. I'm gonna cross here, pull through. And then this one. All that. This one leather worker that I watched said you got to remember that leather is not a fabric, it's skin, right? So it's important to treat it differently. It's not going to be like stitching fabric. Those aren't perfect, but they're not terrible. And it's a very strong stitch. Each stitch has its own kind of locking mechanism to it. And it's going to stick around for a long time. I like things that are durable, you know? That's like the name of the game for me. I don't know if y'all saw this. Because there's fur on this bit right here, it becomes a little trickier, right? So we're gonna go through with the awl again. Even then, I actually pierced the thread right there, so I don't want to be, that's not where I want to be. I'm going to actually trim this little piece off here because I'm not going to stitch that. It's a little too tricky to go around that edge. Too much for me, I think, right now at my skill level. Hold on. What do we got going on here? Yeah, that's right. All right. Making a cross, right? And then pulling that through. Nobody go through the stitch. That sometimes happens. Clumsy fat hands do a top stitch, right? Yeah, I'm gonna wanna. Sometimes when I wing it and don't push the awl through, I regret it, you know? Like this has been something, and you don't want to tie the fur down really either. That's kind of tacky looking. But in this case, don't mind actually. I'll just deal with it. I wanted to do a top stitch all the way around regardless of the fur, so I was just gonna go right through it. That was the goal. Let's see where my next hole is here. Kind of a weird spot. Yeah, those will work. All right, let's keep going. It is possible I'll rip through this at some point. Come on, I just had it. Pulling them tight. Cross all the way through. Pull it down. went around it there. Yo, I almost lost my camera, Heather. This thing is like, the leg is not down under it. Hold on. You guys are making me nervous too, wandering around me. Don't do that. Stop making me nervous. It's not their fault. It's just who I am. Did I just break it? I think I just broke through. Don't want to do that. Yeah, I did. Put it too close to the edge there. All right, we'll use the awl here. This is how we're gonna alter this. We're gonna use the awl and put it like right there. That'll be the next one. Sorry, camera. I have to move this a little so I don't hit it. That one's too close to the edge too, so we're gonna put another one in. We need to kind of make, this is a part where when I was using the little iron, I noticed I was a little too close to the edge here, so kind of make another line right here. Oh man, I just blew out that part. That stinks. It's my fat man hands, dude. This is a delicate job. Here, hold on, let's see if I can take it down. Fix that. There may be a way to fix it. Maybe not. Kind of blew right through that, didn't I? I think maybe right here. Yeah, we'll do there. Hopefully that works. Get my other needle. Cross. Kind of cross. Pull. So I get out from under there. Pull. If done right, not like that, it's called a saddle stitch, but that wasn't correct. I don't think I got it right there. A little forgiving. Seems to be a little bit forgiving, more than woodwork. Dang, I did it again, dude. You gotta take it down to do that. I'm gonna have to go up like here, kind of make a fake one. Well, let me take it off of this thing for a second. Needs like an emergency. Alright, so it's gonna have to be a hole like further away. It's gonna be kind of a wonky looking stitch, I think. I should have made it further from the edge. Yeah, we're gonna go up to that next one. back in the pony again. Uh-oh. I went through something. Oh, there we go. This is actually kind of thicker up here. I want to do a back stitch and cover that area. I might do that in a little bit. But I think I got a good, this is thicker stuff up here than it was down there. I want to make sure I've got a you know, ample sized hole. There's one. That's a little close to the edge. I'm afraid to push through that up here. All right, we'll do this hole, and then I gotta make a couple up here. I'll probably use the iron to do that because this one was wonky. It came out weird. Way harder. It's definitely harder when you're on the spot too, as I'm sure you all probably can imagine. This one definitely could rip through. This concept of like the wax or the thread pulling on the hide and ripping through is not that common because like usually you're gonna leave more support than I did. But that's why there's wax on the thread. If I said the wax, I meant the thread. This right here is not connected. So I know, I mean, it looks kind of how it looks. That's just how it is. When you do something like this, you're trying to craft something yourself. I don't have sewing skills. I'll admit to anybody, this is new for me. So learning the saddle stitch, I think, is really important for my future self-sufficiency, I think, and all of that. I'm gonna make one right there, which has kind of got some support behind it. Then do one right there. Well, that didn't work out. There's a rip right there. So that's gonna have to be trimmed off. Let's do one right in the middle of that thing. Right there. And right there. Wow, dude. It just ripped straight through. Alright. Before we go on, I gotta cut some scrap off here. I'm gonna use a chisel. Well, maybe not, because I have scissors. I don't want to keep trying to cut holes in an area that's broken off. I'm okay with the natural shape of the leather. I just want to make sure that I've got a top stitch, which is my goal here stylistically, to make a top stitch that goes all the way around. So right there, seems supported. Right there, seems supported. Maybe not so much. And then I've got some holes already made going down, it looks like. Not very good ones, but don't rush anything, guys. Alright, so I think I've got my next one here. Here. We'll go from there. Make sure I got my right needles on the right sides here. That's how I orient myself when I'm doing the stitch itself. clamp this up. There's probably a tool to use to like hold stuff like this that's floppy up. Maybe I'm using it already and just don't know that. It should be below this. So when we pull this down, we'll go back through there. Thimble too, to keep your thumbs protected and all that. Did I just go through the thread? I may have. I don't know. Who knows? What do I know? Pull. It's over. I made a cross, right? I'm trying to go back to my fundamentals if I forget stuff. I'm going to pull this thread down. This one's tight. What are you eating, dude? Come on, dude. Get out of there. What are you eating? That can't be edible. There can't be edible stuff down there. There's no way. You gotta go, man. You gotta go. More stuff. Yeah, you're knocking the tripod over too, man. Go. 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 Get out of here. This is rod up here. You can probably chew on somewhere. There you go. Gross. It gets that way sometimes. All right. Coming down more. Here. I think I have my holes all out though, don't I? Not ripped open, I think. We'll try. Yeah, I think it ripped. Yeah, for sure. Let me go back, stitch one back. This is a way I figured out to deal with these sometimes is by back stitching. Getting them even again. In the same place here. Yeah. Yeah, that seemed weird right there. I don't like that. We got to get to the same place. We're gonna go skip probably. We're gonna have to over stitch that. Go over that again, or just go straight here. Let's go straight here. Now to open up kind of gaping wide because I can't see through that. I don't know how many people has got good vision because I cannot see through that. Wow, I did something wrong there. Somebody who's a seamster, probably tell me what I did, but something happened there. Something happened. Got this long one here too. I might just figure that mess out later. Are we in the same place? Yeah. All right. I asked that question before, haven't I? That is really close to the edge. That's probably going to break through. Sorry, camera. I mean, this little top stitch adds a little structure to it too. I mean, I think that's going to actually probably preserve that edge a little bit where it may have broken up before or just deteriorated. Though, you know, handcrafted bark tan leather doesn't necessarily fall apart very easily. They found it at the bottom of the oceans multiple times, so I can cite some shipwreck, but I'll pass on that. I don't think it's going to grab any audience members to start talking about history. I don't think I got this far with the iron. Maybe I did. Yeah, kind of. It's a little bit far from that edge, though. I don't know what that noise is either, Pen. Oops, I went through the thread. Hold on. If this is like structural, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but I'm going to cut the thread to release it. I'll do a back stitch and re-thread the needle probably. I almost got there, man. It's kind of... Now I only got one needle and one thread here, but I can do back stitches that basically do the same thing here. This is just improvising. I'm not using it all at all. I'm using that. This is actually the Glover's needle. I'm pushing through with it. Almost done. Let me connect this with this thread. Maybe one more stitch here. Now, if this was structural, like I said, like my other stuff, I would go back and rethread both needles and go ahead and just do my, oh wow, that broke through. Yeah, that wasn't good. I would go back through and rethread both needles and do a saddle stitch all the way. Push it back through here. I'm gonna put it in one spot back here. Pull it through. Then I'm gonna tie it under and then cut it off the needle. I mean, it doesn't look perfect, especially on this side where I started back stitching. Like I don't really care that much because this pocket, all I'm trying to do, I was trying to do something decorative. That was the goal here. You know, and I'm learning. It's just like I think it just takes time. Like that's tied down under there, so now I'm gonna cut it off. I wanna stitch that down harder. Pretty much, the only thing I regret is coming in a little bit far there. I could have gone a little towards the edge. Right here is a tough spot, dude, where it's blown out. That stinks, but you know, you do what you can. All right, I'm gonna cut it off now. What I do immediately with my two needles is I actually immediately unthread them and put them back in their case. Because these two needles are like what I've gotten used to using. And you know, if you can reuse your thread, great. But I made a little needle pouch for my needles that I use, which I have set down somewhere apparently. Well, I did make a little needle pouch, but I don't know where it is at the moment. It may have fallen off. Maybe like a dog, like literally the dog actually ate it. It's possible. It might have been what he was chomping on down there. Oh no, here it is. This is my little needle pouch. So also made out of leather that I made. You know, try to do things homemade. Appreciate the likes, folks. Thank you so much for being here. Let me show you what this looks like kind of with the hatchet in place. It's handcrafted stuff. You know, you improvise some. You do what you can. This, I probably could stitch that again, couldn't I? Get that cleaned up. But yeah, we'll do that later, at a later time. Show you what the hatchet looks like in it. So hatchet head, right? And then this goes in here like this and this snaps. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to make a leather strap that goes around the back here. Hope we've had more chat than that. Leather strap that goes around this back side of the hatchet to tie in this, to keep this thing from popping off here. We need this thing to stay on. So I'm gonna take a strap and size it against this real quick and see how it looks. I like this kind of on the top, but y'all can't see that from your side. That's the way this looks with the top stitch. But I'm gonna put a leather strap back around here. It's gonna go around the back. This was forged by Ron LaFleur up in Canada at Homemade 1970, if you're interested in watching him forge stuff. And then I made the handle here. Obviously I made the sheath because we've been working on that here in the shop. So let me go ahead and start that mess so we can get on to the next thing. If I had enough leather, I'd like to hem this down like a belt, you know, almost like a belt, but I don't have enough for that, like in scraps. I'm not gonna use prime leather for this purpose here. Like my best stuff, it doesn't make sense. Just all you need is this little thing, so you don't want to cut up a huge hide for some little scraps. And I think it's enough for that to hold like that. But I don't like it looking uneven, so I may take an X-Acto knife and trim off the edges here with a straight edge. Hatchet in the picture, they seem to like that. It's one of those jobs I think looked way better in my head. Trying to think of the classiest way you can do this. I mean, this once I oil it, it'll look like this leather too. It's from the same hide. This has just been separated for a little while. But I think really what we're trying to do is it's just got to basically get a saddle stitch on well, hold on, it's got to get snapped on too. So it's got to have a snap. The snap can either go on the back, like you can, I guess it would probably be 2 sets of saddle stitches on this side. Then this is cut off back here or something and you have a snap. So you got to have enough space for that. And then the other option is to saddle stitch one side, then it wraps around and snaps on this side, right? It does look a bit flimsy. I am not gonna lie, it looks flimsy. I wonder if there's a way I can reinforce this strap. I mean, I know stitching it and basically hemming it like a belt, I can do that, right? But I don't know if I have enough material that's straight like that. I guess I could do this. I could take the time to go and take pieces and just basically double laminate this leather, right? Just stitch it so it's like a belt. And then once I've got that, then I'll stitch it down to the pouch there. And after that, apply the button, which is a little tricky actually. But first, let's do this. Let me see if I can get this thing kind of find an angle where this will work here. For now, I'll say this is the side that's gonna be, and this will work, right? Let me make sure this will work. Yeah. It's meant for functionality too. I can kind of straighten up the edges as we go, but what we'll do is we'll sew this on here like this. Or should it be inside? Because I've already got that beautiful top, or what I think is a beautiful top stitch there. Maybe I should stitch it from like, No, I don't care. I'll do the top. I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna do the same thing as if those stitches aren't even there. We're gonna stitch it right along this edge here. Do I hear my belly? Stomach growl there. Mike, welcome, buddy. Welcome. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Checking the chat here. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so this is gonna need to be. I'm gonna need to poke this with a couple times with either the iron or the awl to get this. And there's actually quite a bit of leather inside there because it's been hemmed over. So that's actually quite a bit more stuff than I thought. So let me put something in there to kind of. Need something like wood to stick in there so it can absorb some of this. I'm gonna do like one stitch right here, I think, on the end, like a back stitch, just to hold that in place, and then I can go back from there and work. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna use this little iron. What is that? We'll do 4. We'll do 2 and 2 and make sure that we're far away from the edges. So I'm gonna actually do those across, right? So probably up, up, back, back, side, side, back, back. Does that make sense? Let me show you in here. So probably up, up, back, back, if you can see those holes, and then across and back and across and back. And I think that'll secure that, and then I can go on from there. And my fingers look bad, but it's not dirt. It's from tannins and stuff. So I apologize for that, but that's just the nature of doing this kind of work. I got kind of a odd shaped piece of wood in there to observe these shots, to absorb these shots, because I don't want it to go through, and I want it to go through, but not to do the other side. sometimes you just gotta give it your all AWL. And I'm gonna put that piece of wood in there again because my concern, and I might need a flat one, but I need to make sure that I get this all the way. There it goes. Whenever you get a chance, I did it again. I stuck myself with that all again. Same place too. Ouch. Ain't gonna stop me. I can feel the wood under there. No, I bought the stitching pony, but I can make one now that I've seen it in person. You know, I had to buy one to kind of see how it works. But good question, Mike. Now that I've seen one though, I think I can make one. I think I have the right clamps in here too, believe it or not, like just lying around the shop. Yeah, no, it's a piece of crap actually, man. There's some really, it's a really bad, like the butt joint at the bottom of it is really poor. I mean, it works for what I need it for, I think. I got to thread needles here. I got a bleeding finger. So Heather's gonna come out and give me a Band-Aid real quick. So I get that same finger, poor finger, man. Okay, don't worry.
Is it on this one?
Yeah.
That thread is okay. I should have gotten the fingertip ones in
No, that's okay. I don't think I need.
Yeah. This one's fine, yeah. Can that do it?
I think so. I'm gonna put that little leather thing back on under my finger. Not that that's really what it's designed for.
Nah, I'm gonna keep it on for now.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I think, you know, you can finish your holster with one easier than you can. So what you really need is 2 pieces of wood and then one of these, there's one of these screw jack clamps. And I have one in here, so I know like kind of how to do it basically. But it's, now that I have one, I'm not like inspired to do it necessarily. What are those 2 needles? Put them away kind of. Wow, that hurts, man. When you stick yourself with an awl, it like just, it hurts because it like pokes a hole in your finger wide. It doesn't just poke a hole sharp. It like widens your finger, the hole out, so it kind of hurts bad. But I'm not gonna complain here. I'm gonna thread these 2 needles is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a length of thread first here. I'm just gonna do this much because I'm doing like one little stitch here. I don't need that much. So that's probably enough right there. Same thing, I'll show y'all. This is the way I was shown to do these saddle stitches. You thread. This is an upholstery, not an upholstery. This is a glover's needle. We're gonna put it through, like poke through the thread, like in an S shape, if I can do it here. And then again, that wasn't very good, but, and then again, and pull down. That's gonna lock that needle on. Thank you, Mike Osborne, for being here today. Appreciate you. Mike up there in North Dakota. It's locked on. I'm not gonna sit here and worry about it. So that's one. And then the others, that's the one I like to be my right hand needle. And then I have an upholstery needle, which is a different length here. Doesn't matter. You can use 2 glover's needles probably. is a little bit. Same thing. Pull the thread over the needle twice, you know, like an S. Pull it down. Well, that didn't feel very good. I'm going to tell you, that wasn't very good. I'll be doing this more. So we'll stay tuned for the next one to see whether I can do that a little better. All right, now that I got my 2 needles here, boom and boom. Thank you for everybody for being here. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. I'm going to use the awl because I cannot see where that hole is back there. I'm going to poke through this side and see if I can find it. I don't want to find it the way I found it a minute ago. So that didn't go through both. That needs to go through both these layers. There's another layer of leather there. And I might need a thimble there to do this. Let's do this. See if that holds in place for a sec. It might fall. What's another way I can do this here? I need that awl to poke through this other layer of leather, which is kind of a little bit on the uneven side. I could also probably trim it away. But at the moment, it seems to be kind of in the way here. But it'll add support to the strap if I can use it. And there, I went through it there. Yeah. I want this on this side. So I'm going to follow this all through here. I'm going to try to clip this back in a sec too once I get this needle through. Yeah, I'm going to want a thimble here. Even this glove thing's probably not enough. Yeah. It's the way that thread bunched up at the back of the needle. Live and learn, man. It all goes back to how I threaded that needle badly. I'll cut the needle off actually and re-thread it. I don't even need 2 needles for this, but I'll do it because I already demonstrated that's what I was going to do. Bad needle threading. Let's do it again. Without having a big clump. We can't have a big old messy clump of waxed linen needle thread going through a hole that's going through 2 kind of uneven pieces of leather. So we're going to try this again. All right, that part was successful. This is where I got messed up last time. Whatever you're doing is so disgusting, and you're under my tripod. Get. Sounds so gross, man. I don't know what you're eating down there. There's no food quality products on that floor. Yuck. If I can make Calvin one, like if it works out fine, let's go back a second and read because I didn't get this from the chat. Yeah, I stuck myself with the that is a problem. Not great. I'm gonna cut this extra length of thread off because it didn't want to let that through a minute ago. It was like really not want to let that through. So hopefully that doesn't have anything to do with how our thread holds together, but it does look like it does. All right, so I stuck that all through. Now I'm gonna put this little thing on my finger because it was rough a minute ago, and I did it yesterday too. What I should have done was just trim this off, you know. This is way too easy to be like this. This should not be hard. This should not be hard right now. There we go. All right. Now we're where we needed to be to start out with. I've got some other clips. I'm gonna take these clips and kind of move this back because it's in my way, right? Definitely in my way. And we're gonna go, like I said, I'm gonna go back to this spot here, like with a saddle stitch. Well, it's kind of, I guess it's not a saddle stitch. It's kind of backwards. Some people so it's towards them, some people away. But first I gotta take the awl again very carefully and put another hole through here. Yeah. This may be a backward saddle stitch, so we'll do that. We'll go backwards, see if I can do it backwards. Through, make a cross on the other side. And then I'm gonna pull that thread down, all right? Pull that thread down and then go back through here, if I can. There we go. And pull, and there we go. That's one, and I said kind of back again, but I'm afraid I might actually damage some there. That looks like that's gonna hold. Now I'm gonna go down this direction here, I think, for the next one. I suppose I probably should have like made some intermediate stitches there. What do y'all think? Should I put a hole in between for stability? I don't know whether that's something that's done. Someone say that in the chat. Should I add another hole here for stability in the middle, or just go down and do another stitch down there and just go after it in a minute? But the next thing I can do is to lock that in is go back and do a second, do a back stitch there. I believe that's what it's called. When you basically just go back through the same place to lock in your stitch. Yeah, and that's nice and strong there. Now I'm gonna, I've got both my needles on the same side, so let's do this. It's basically like another saddle stitch. This is tricky because there's a lot of thread going through that hole now. Yeah, can't do that. Don't want to do that. And you don't want to mess it up. There we go. Dimble. There we go. Yeah, real tight. Real tight. Just I expected it that time. All right, so that's real strong there, that one. I could actually cut these off and go back over, but I think I'm just gonna go through down to here like this, and if it needs to be snipped off, we'll snip it off. But let me readjust my vise here because we're like slipping out here. And this is like really in the way still. So now we got that there. I'm gonna actually come down and do like, you know, whatever this procedure would be. I got my I probably need to push that all through down there. Yeah, definitely need to do that. Can't see it so well on this side here. Yeah, that's good. All right. Great. That looks good. Kind of want to leave that there because, you know, leather skin, so it wants to rebound back, right? And I'm gonna come from my side here, I believe the right side here, and try to find that all hole. I found it, but I can't find the other side of it. I think I was right there. You know, like anything, I feel like I learned something and then I hit a roadblock, you know. Can't get through that. Wow, it smells like leather. I might come in from the other side because I can't seem to get that. I can't find that hole very well from this side. It's partially my eyesight, I think. And then let's do this though. Dang, that is so, it's hard to find the front of it from here. From the back here, it's really difficult. And I didn't foresee this, for me at least it is. It's extremely, I'm trying to find the other side of this and I need the thumb. Let's do it again, let's do this here. So it was a little easier to do that the other way, but that's it right there. That's it. Sometimes you gotta like follow the all through. That's not gonna do it. Yeah, there we go. We'll take that. Just a little bit of improvisation, y'all, because I'm actually trying to make, you know, this thing fit, and I didn't foresee the problem with the where's my thimble at? Okay. That answers that question. Great. Yeah, I can't see it. This is the problem with going blind, I think. Unfortunately. And I was in the middle of a stitch too, and I dropped my thimble, can't find it. So I think we're both on the right here. This one has to be, yeah, it's this needle here. Right? Gotta come back through. And this is a tricky bit too. I'm gonna stick myself or something here. Uh-oh. Grabbed around my little clamp there. All right, that should hold that in place for now. You know what I mean? Like enough to get it around to where I can work with it. It's a couple, like basically a couple saddle stitches and like back stitches basically. Now this will probably you guys put on, but what I need to do is size it now. Take this clamp off and see. Will it grab? So yeah, you know, saddle stitches here. Obviously this needs to be oiled so it matches this. It's from the same hide, so it should look basically the same. Yeah, saddle stitches there, and then a snap here. We're gonna do a snap on this side. So as backup, because this sheath right here just doesn't hold on very firmly, and if you're going somewhere, you kind of want something that's gonna hold it on firmly, you know. All this leather stuff I made here in Dad's workshop from scratch, like from the animal itself. So in this case, deer hide. I might hem that end right there, but you kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here. I might just go ahead and I wonder if I should. We've been going a minute, man. How long we been going on here? 206 minutes. I don't think that's a record. I've probably gone longer than that before. Done a few hours before on the live streams. Who do we got in here? Yeah, probably would. The problem is that this was like, you see the inside there, that deer fur, like, and the tricky bit of trying to get that all through there. It was really kind of tricky there in that spot. And I'm not going to take the needles off because I think I might actually stitch a couple more times since this looks right. It works. I'm going to put it like here and do a few. I think I could probably push the awl through here and do a few more stitches. I mean, would that be enough, or should we do? I might have to take it off here and hammer it. There's not gonna be enough thread here to do this whole these whole lines, but I think that's probably a good. That didn't throw me at all. I don't have my finger behind it, guys, so don't worry about that. All right, let's do those. We can come back across too, I think, but yeah, that's gonna be what I do. I might just cut that thread off at the end. We'll push that all through again. Hold up. That's not. I'll have to do a back stitch real quick. Actually, you could do two. I've got one. Thread with 2 needles, but you could do back stitches the whole way, I think, and just meet across at the end. Let me see if that works. We're gonna meet back there again, I think. But I also got to do these down here. I don't even see the tip of the awl there. There we go. That's the sound I needed, unfortunately. All right, back stitch. Yeah, you certainly can. You can basically, you got 2 needles and you got 1 thread. So probably better to just have 2 threads if you're doing this in general, but you can just do back stitches across the whole back here. I think this is just what I think based on what I've done. You got to go back through these. So I will go, what I'm going to do. And this technique should be a strong, join. What do they call it? A strong stitch. Thimble. Oh, I lost my thimble, right? My thimble fell on the floor. Can't find it because I'm blind. So I use this thing. I think I broke something. All right, so yeah, I did it wrong. I just didn't go through the right place. Y'all are seeing me learn this stuff, so I should have gone through this, pulled through, and then gone back through that last hole again, right? Am I right? Same thing here. I'm gonna push the awl through here. Only reason I'm not using that saddle stitch right now is because it kind of doesn't make sense with the 2 needles and the separation here based on just my brain. My brain's telling me that stitch doesn't make sense. If somebody can make more sense of that stitch for this, then please do. Make me understand why that's a better stitch for this than a back stitch. But you know, each saddle stitch does have like a lock, which is cool. You know, basically the stitch locks. Crisscross or an X pattern, similar to a it's that's another stitch I want to learn, similar to a baseball stitch is what it sounds like, Mike. Yeah, that's probably, I mean, I guess I should take it all the way to the edge. I don't know what the rules are. You know, experienced tailors and seamstresses will probably have an opinion on that. But do I need to take the stitch all the way to the edge is the next question, probably. But anyway, I'll go ahead and go to the bottom here and start stitching those out, pushing the awl through so I kind of know where I'm at. And it's really, really tough. All right, that one and that one. Guess you can't be shy with it. I'm gonna leave my other needle threaded just in case, because I don't know if I'll need it again in a second. This is a little tricky now because it's inside this pocket here is why I think it's probably hard here. And I pushed the awl through, but it's hard to see where I did. So let me push it through again and kind of use it to guide the needle. Yeah, that worked. You hear these wild dogs over here, Mike? That wasn't even like a real stick, but I still stuck myself with the awl. Wish I had my thimble right now. It's better than this thing for this job. Set that thing down. It rolled off the table, fell on the floor, and it's like blending in with my stuff. Ooh, I found that without the awl. Nice.
There's this really good book that I've been reading parts of the digital copy of, which is called The Secrets of Eskimo Skin Sewing. Highly recommend it. It talks about some of these little stitches. And Mike sent me Mike is making stuff. Sent me some traditional American skill stuff, like a digital book, and so I read that too. And that's what I got now, right? So now we have this stitched on here pretty strong. The next thing to do is to wrap it around. I guess I should tie this stitch off with like come backwards here. Like I went through the top down. I don't think I need to do that type of thing again. I'd probably let somebody who knows tell me. I'm gonna go back through like, let's see, this one maybe. I just want to make sure when I do this, I'm kind of like, it's kind of wonky on the back. I'm not really worried about that. Those little crossovers can probably be cut out, and you still got where the stitch is pretty strong in there. But it kind of looks like kind of what Mike was talking about, or what I was talking about with like a baseball stitch. It's got that look bit to it. I will come across here and tie this off here and like push it under and then cut off both threads. And I'm not even worried if that breaks. I don't need that for like decorative reasons. Actually, that was not how I wanted it to be right there. Hold on, hold on. It did not go where I wanted it to go. Got that back out. It doesn't look great, but I did get it out of there. Kind of like the skin heals a little. I meant to go through this hole here. This was where I wanted to go through, and I did not. Should push through that with the awl first. I mean, I definitely like sewing. I enjoy this craft. Want to thank everybody for coming to Dad's workshop today. There, we tied off. How's that? I mean, don't answer. Don't answer honestly. This is my bet. I mean, this is like my first. This is my first kind of time sewing, so you know, thank y'all for hanging out with me. Let me push that needle through and tie that off so it doesn't. It's not gonna loosen up or whatever. Come on there. Oh, that's in the thread though. I can't have it going through the thread. Can't have that. Can't have it going around the piece of leather either. Go one more time through here. That means both needles went through that spot. Both tied it off. All right, man, check it out. So now, you know, these things take time when you do it by hand. All right, snap. Oops, maybe not snap. And then this strap will go around. I'm doing everything top stitch because I don't know how to do nothing yet. So boom, check that out. See? We're going to have that strap go. It's going to snap on the other side there. All leather that I made here at Dad's Workshop. Hey, Woodchucker. What's up, Caleb? Happy to have you, man. Yeah, I'm glad everybody came today. Hope you hung out, had a good time, maybe learned something, maybe not necessarily from me, maybe from my mistakes, you know. By the way, shout out to Ron, homemade by Ron. We also made this handle today in here. I'll probably stain it tomorrow. I like the way that it has that kind of recurve, sympathetic curve. Feels really good. I'll put a wedge in it. And we'll be like in business, man, you know, for emergency scenarios and whatnot. Thanks for being here for the 225 minutes of Dad's Workshop today. We don't always get to do that long with Dad's Workshop. So thankful for that. I will put a snap on this thing probably tomorrow. I may even hem this or add another piece of leather to make it stronger. Oh wow, it's still on that, right? This bead is not live at all. There we go. Yeah, so happy to be here. Happy to have been able to do this. And psyched about learning new skills. Shout out to Ricker, who's learning new skills every day too. That's his goal this year. Let me do what I always say I do and take these needles and put them away also. Make sure you do like this video. Appreciate everybody and all the likes today. Thanks for being here. It wasn't about likes or views today. It was kind of about toughing it out and getting through some of this craft on the live stream, and we did. We definitely did. We got through a lot of stuff, some leather, some tanning stuff. This is my little needle pouch that I made out of my own leather. Also, it was the first thing I made out of my own leather. Boom. And I use it for my upholstery needle and my Glover's needle. I had stuck pretty bad today, but hey, growing pains, literally, right? The sewing kit I got, this leather sewing kit, of which I will not name the brand, was not very expensive and it has worked very well for me so far. I will tell you if it continues to work. Thank you, Kevin. Lots of good stuff today. I agree. Awesome stuff here at Dad's Workshop. Glad to have been here. Oh, I want to show you one more thing in case you missed this part earlier. So this is oak galls. So if you're a woodworker and you ever see these like burls on oak trees, these are oak galls, right? They are extremely rich in tannic acid. And what I did was mix steel wool with them to create this black dye, and I threw some leather in there. Look how black that leather is. It worked as a perfect black dye. See that? That's a piece of actual tanned leather. So it's been tanned already. Remember, it's been saturated with tannins, and I threw it in with this, and the experiment worked. So I can dye leather black using this substance. Completely natural. And I know where the tree is that produces these, right? So nature provides for us. Nature provides for us, man. And it's not just a hippie thing. It's true. It's true, man. There are things, and you know, the more we have emergencies like the one that's going to happen in the next couple of days, the more people are going to think about how important it is to prepare for the eventuality of an emergency or a survival situation, at least on a minimal level. You know, maybe not. I love these magnets on my apron. Maybe not so severely as like, you know, just like storing 10 years worth of food, but like just take time to like learn some skills, you know, and make some preparations. Yeah, man, I need to make some admissions, Mike, before I go. And one of those things is that I haven't always been good at building people up, including recently. So I apologize to Pilato for saying some kind of mean-spirited things on his live stream. That doesn't mean I want to go there and be a mod again, but I appreciate that he was pretty patient with that stuff. And shout out to the Sheeps if I misunderstood those comments, and I want to apologize to them again, all valued members of my channel. Of course, I understand people got to go, people got to do various things, and everything is expensive these days. Inflation, you know, I wouldn't blame anyone for not wanting to be a part of this, but I do love this family. I do, and I know that some of us are here for our own reasons, or it's a mental health thing, etc., etc. So, shout out to all my friends here, and let me say I appreciate you being here. I'm sorry that if I scared you away, and hopefully, you know, over time we can work to ameliorate those problems that we've had. All right, everybody, y'all do the next right thing, and I love you and appreciate you. Make sure that you do check out my long form video about tanning. It's got like 2 views, so check that out. Appreciate everybody here being here today, because you know, with all these, you know, 50, 60, 70,000 people we get in these live streams, I figure pull a few views on those videos. Now, just a few. Everybody check that out. Thank you, Woodchucker. I'm glad I'm good in your book. You're good in my book too, buddy. Appreciate everybody. Take care. Have a great day. This is Dad's Workshop. I'm Calvin. I'll see you next time.